Hey, folks. The call to arms went out, and about 11 of you responded, not counting Zerfall and immediate family members who had characters made for them. So yeah, this is going to be the walkthrough of the created characters for the upcoming Let's Play of Romance of Three Kingdoms, whichever one this is, 14, I guess? I don't even know. What I'm going to do in this video is there's not going to be gameplay. I'm just going to go through the characters who were created. This will be a chance for anybody who submitted a character. If I got something wrong in creating your character, you can let me know before the Let's Play starts. If you weren't paying attention and you are entitled to submit a character because you donated over the threshold, whatever it was, I guess it was $100 in Zerfall's charity stream of the last calendar year. So I'm running way behind. Like he did that stream in the summer of 2020 and or 2021 rather, and I'm just now getting to this. But yeah, if you donated and you're entitled to a character and you haven't submitted yet, I guess this is kind of like last chance to respond here and submit a character. It's possible. I have to go. There's like one or two folks that I interact with regularly who probably aren't going to watch the Let's Play but are entitled to a character if they want one. I'll double check with them. Not going to try to make characters for Bronco or BB because they're a little young for me to decide. Do they seem like a warrior character or a domestic? Like, yeah, I'm just going to leave them out of it. As tempting as it is to make one for little Bronco, and as tempting as it is to make one for BB. Anyway, but yeah, so what I'm going to do in this video is run through these created characters so that people can let me know if I made any mistakes. Also, just so you're aware, I made some minor tweaks to JG Mystery and to Bobo the Vulture based on advice I've received in the comments section from a user named, probably pronouncing this wrong, Ichitochi. Who was not somebody who donated and can make a character, but they seem to be a fan of this particular game, and they've been giving me some gameplay hints. I tried playing this game a little bit offline. It was one of the things, this and GTA San Andreas were games I would play when not recording. I've mentioned in the San Andreas Let's Play, this was what I was playing when drinking alcohol on the weekend and playing a video game, which I am trying not to do this year. But so I was playing and maybe not making the sharpest decisions, but I wasn't doing very well. That being said, Ichitochi is still pushing that I play this game on hard difficulty or higher because normal is too easy. But I wasn't doing very well playing even on normal. But there's a lot of game mechanics I wasn't getting. Like, how do you maintain order in cities without it costing a ton of money? That maybe as we play, Ichitochi or other people familiar with the game can fill me in. This game doesn't do a great job of explaining things in the help menus. But who knows? Anyway. But yeah, JG Mystery has changed. Primarily, I changed his formations. Because I had tactics for using the different siege weapons, but didn't have those formations available. And so I did take advice to JG will probably be serving as a siege unit if he is leading troops, because he has his dump status strength, which is more than just what you do in duels. It also affects how you lead troops. So if he's going to be used in combat, it will probably be as a siege unit. Similarly, Vulture Bean. Vulture Bean actually has higher strength than JG Mystery because I didn't make her leadership as high. But yeah, she's got Tower and Catapult and Ram. Yeah, she's the same deal. Like if she goes into battle, it'll be as a siege unit most likely. And to that same end, Vulture Bobo, I took away some of his siege stuff because he's not going to be used as siege. He's going to be used as, like, Ultimate Warrior Man, you know, shaking the ropes. And Vulture's just weird. Vulture's also the only character who wasn't born in 180, because I kind of defaulted to that for everybody, but either I forgot to make him born in 180, or he specifically asked to be older than everyone, so he is. Anyway, moving through, we've got All Dragon here, or Dragonald, as he will be known in this playthrough. You can see his doctrine and policy there: expand castle walls, noble, a polite man. His confidants are JG Mystery, Vulture, Bobo, and Falger, which makes sense. His tactics there are what they are. He's going to be... He's got Tower and Catapult. He doesn't. He has the Catapult tactic and the Catapult formation, which works. He doesn't have the Tower tactic, but he has the Tower formation. So he's somebody who, because of his stats, his dump stat is kind of charisma, and he's not... He's above average at pole, so he's somebody who would be useful in pretty much any war setting. But yeah, if I made a mistake anywhere, and I don't think I did. Lots of bow-oriented stuff. Let's take a look at something, though. Yeah, Goose would be your formation of choice. Goose! Goose! Goose, different Top Gun there. Goose, yeah, because it's basically the ranged one. And his stuff is focused on range. And of course he threw in Dragon Carnage because that's part of the, the name. But yeah, and I knew for sure I got that portrait right because that's the portrait that he's used in previous games. Then we had Shooting Your Mo. Oh, yeah, I went ahead and let you have this weird Minotaur picture. I guess that's supposed to be, is that the guy, Hundun or whatever? They introduced him as like Ultimate Super Boss in Warriors Orochi 3. And then by Warriors Orochi 4, he doesn't really play a role, whatever. But he's there. He doesn't have, he's got adversaries, so he's an adversarial. By the way, what I came to find out is that confidants and adversaries, followed closely by tactics, were the biggest pain in the ass and took the most time. If you picked a bunch, because I had to scroll through so many options. But yeah, he's got, his adversaries are basically all the strong dudes. He's got all the really strong warriors because he's just like warrior guy. He's super smart and super strong and terrible at politics. So take a look there, buddy, at your doctrine policy type of stuff. Make sure I didn't pick anything that is wrong. As far as I recall, I didn't have any problems with your traits not working with each other, although some people did have that problem. Then we had Dawn Everstar. I'd have to scroll through to see who picked what character, so I know quite a few of the... I don't know how many female viewers I have. I think I've got a few, and I might have one or two who have not bothered to point out their gender, because A, why would you, and B, women on the internet, they've got different challenges as far as like creepy weirdos. But yeah, like, oh man, as a hetero dude, this is probably the hottest of the female characters in terms of just their portrait. So I don't know if the actual person who created this character is female or not, and I don't know why I'm going. Now I'm going to go off into a weird tangent where I sound like a creeper. But yeah, like I like this portrait. But she's going to be a war character, it looks like. You figure the female characters in this game, they'll be good domestic officers. No, this person just went flat out 100 and all the things that would be useful in field battles. So they've got Catapult and Tower, Stats and Formation. That makes sense. Villainous, Wicked, Divines, General, Sleeping Dragon, Strategy Master, all that good stuff. And they had a specific set of confidants, and they went with Yuan Shu, and then people in Yuan Shu's inner circle, and then the created characters that existed at the time. So yeah, if I did anything wrong, see, Dawn Everstar, who? Oh, this is Bob Jackson's character. So yeah, I'm pretty sure Bob Jackson does not look like that. But yeah, Bob, if that's the username anyway, that might not be the real name. Yeah, let me know if there's anything wrong with that. The thing I'm most likely to get wrong is the portraits, because I'm pretty sure I was accurate, but sometimes people are off a row or a column, particularly rows. Rows are the ones where people seem to be off sometimes. But yeah, if it's not the portrait you wanted, let me know, because we didn't have that many submissions, so it's likely that the portrait you wanted was not taken by somebody else. I had a lot more problems with that in the past, where I had more created officers. Like I had 30 at one point before I kind of upped how much, A, tied it to donations to Zerfall's charity, and B, kind of upped how much you had to donate. So here's Da Jun, which is And Shaman was Shootin' Yamo. And then Bob Jackson was Dawn Everstar. So I'm not sure where the sequence came from. But Dachshund of Doom, Diamond's Doom dude, came up with Da Jun, who is she wants to be famous and prepare registers. Tactics, I'm pretty sure I got all the tactics that you asked for. Didn't have any problems with the formations. I'm not noticing any formations that will not work. Like somebody pointed out to me, I had the tactics for siege weapons, Ichitochi, I guess, but I didn't have the formation, so they would never be used. But so I kind of eyeball that now, although I didn't look at it before. But yeah, again, female character, and I'm like, oh, you're going to be a domestic officer? Nope, Total War officer. Total War 3 Kingdoms. And they wanted to be confidants with the ruler and with known created officers, which makes sense. And their adversaries are Dong Zhuo and Lubu. Well, good news. Dong Zhuo's dead in the scenario we're playing. We could have played in a scenario where we were fighting right against them in the front line. That would have made sense. I think I've decided that we're not going to do that. We're going to do the post-Dong Zhuo scenario. But Lubu is around, and we're trying to get Lubu as an ally. So that might be a slight issue, but I'm not suggesting you change for that. It's actually more drama to the idea that there's people in our force you don't like. But Lubu wouldn't be in our force. He would be an allied force if I can get that to work. And when goofing around off screen, I could not. And the inability of Lubu and Yuan Shu to get on the same page and ally when Cao Cao came knocking with Liu Bei is one of the reasons that both of those forces went down. Then I think Fox's Brand came up with this character. Froxus Nilak. I'm trying to find the name. Yeah, Froxus Ban had slightly odd submission just in terms of layout. But I think part of the reason I'm used to seeing them all the same way is because somebody, Earl King or somebody, went early and everybody followed that format, which made my life a lot easier. I was able to make sense of Fox's. This is his submission, so let me know if this is wrong. You didn't specify a gender, so I made you female based on the portrait that you picked, but again, sometimes the portraits are thrown off if people miscount the rows. 1,000 plans, inscrutable schemes, and calm. Actually, Froxus made my life a little easier by not having, like, maxing out how many tactics and traits a character has, because traits, there's probably no real reason not to max out, but tactics are not going to pop up that often, particularly for someone like Froxus, because they have stats that will mean they are a great domestic officer who might not be in battle as much. Although, frankly, if I wasn't packing the deck with all these created officers, somebody with 80 leadership is probably going to get sent out on the march as part of a normal force, just working with kind of super powerful created officers. But yeah, again, if there's anything wrong, formation, crane, or tower. Is crane the one that lets you go out and conquer territory? Because that's actually quite useful in peacetime, to just have an officer going out using the crane formation to conquer lots of territory. But yeah, let me know if I missed anything, because I think your character was captured correctly. Next is Li Jingming. I tried to put a space between Jing and Ming. It would not let me. It does not appear to be a thing you can do. But they are kind of an interesting character in that they hate Liu Bei. Otherwise, lots of tactics selected, even though they're probably not going to be seeing that much battle. Although, again, 50 strength does not disqualify you from being in battle. It depends on whether my territory gets large enough that we don't have access to every single officer every time there's combat that needs to happen. But they're pretty much a domestic officer, a high-end domestic officer after my own heart, more similar to JG Mystery than most. Because if I remember the traits correctly, I think these are mostly plots are favored. If ruler's doctrine is the same as yours, doctrine experience is obtained each turn. Well, I don't think that one's going to do anything for you, because I don't think Yuan Shu is a Confucian. Yuan Shu probably is a Confucian in the generic sense, but not in terms of what their doctrine is. But yeah, like, I think this is somebody who picked based on role playing as opposed to, like, careful consideration of what each trait does. But yeah, overall, very strong domestic character. This would be if you were playing with a real force and not with a force made up of created officers. This is likely to be one of the very most important characters on your force. And their confidants, they had a specific set of confidants. I think you're the one who said, give me all of the, use the created officers. So this one slightly threw me off. I don't know that this is of any interest to anyone, but I started making these characters at the top of my comments scrolling down, which meant I kind of made them in reverse order, because I think the way they played out on my my comments thing, the newer ones were first, which means the older ones were last, which means the people who submitted their characters early are the last ones that got made. It didn't matter because I didn't have enough submissions that people had to nobody had to go to their second choice for portrait. But it did mean oh shoot, I have to save an interim save here on you and then go make Earl King, because you specifically has to be confidant of Earl King, who I hadn't made yet, because Earl King was the first one to submit, and I was doing them kind of in reverse order. So that was a wonderful story. But yeah, you hate Lubu, so that makes you allies with somebody, and it may have been Ankamarand? No. Somebody came in the comments and was like, yes, somebody else to dunk on Lubu, which I found kind of amusing. So Anhamarand is... They got the eye patch, it's kind of a cool look, but in this world it's oh, you just I want to be Shihao-Tu. And then of course the Oathkeeper's leader who got arrested has an eye patch, so that's... Normally I would think eye patch is pretty cool character design though, for a badass. And this is very much a military officer. Pole is the dump stat, although it's not god-awful. And you did an admirable job of taking two stats and making them both kind of middling, rather than just saying, I want to be 100 in everything except one, and have 99 in that, and then the last stat will have one, which is kind of the, whatever. If charisma is 1, and pole is 99, and everything else is 100, it's you have leprosy, but are otherwise perfect. Which is not what you did, so I don't know why I'm talking about it. They went with Yuan Majesty. The thing is, I don't remember. There's 2 Yuan skills, and one of them is Yuan Shao's, and one of them is Yuan Shu's, and I don't remember which is which. I think you were one where I had a little bit of trouble with the traits, because... Let me see here. Yes, you wanted Tengja armor and Fire God. And that's cheating. At least the game seems to think so, because you can't pick them both. Tengja armor, which is, as far as I can make out, that's referring to the... For Dynasty Warriors fans, those are the armored troops in the non-mod campaigns. Zhuge Liang's armies fight these guys who have this special wooden armor that's been soaked in tropical oils and lacquers, and it's resistant to arrows and sword blows. So Zhuge Liang kills them with a fire attack, and it's kind of an interesting part of the novel, because Zhuge Liang has to say these perform this ceremony and pray for the souls of those killed in the fire attack, because he's tainted by this. It was a really brutal way to kill them, and their souls are looking for vengeance, and he has to do a prayer of contrition to the souls of the slain Nongmon warriors before he can lead the armies of Shu home. And I'm off on a tangent, but it's an interesting little piece of the novel. But in this game, it means they take half damage from everything except fire attacks, which they take triple damage from. But Fire God makes you immune to fire attacks. So the game's so I get what Angam was going for here, and it's kind of a fun, it's kind of it's a clever idea, but the game's no, that's cheating. So I was going to give you the armor because it came earlier on your list, but then I saw a whole lot of the things where your tactics were based around you being really good at fire attacks. So it's I went ahead and chose Fire God for you instead of the armor. So if you want to resubmit and have that armor, go ahead. But it did appear to be a trick where you were I want to be super good at fire attacks and have it be impossible for them to ever turn against me and be hoist on my own fiery petard. So you can't do that, but based on everything about your character except the order in which you listed those traits, I figured you would rather have Fire God and have to ditch the armor than vice versa. So if that was wrong, let me know. if you really want to pick another trait, go ahead. You know, I think it's okay if you have 4 traits, but I don't think the world's going to end. But yeah, confidants were the rulers and known created officers at the time the character was created, so that's all good. Next we have Earl King. Something Kind komm geh mit mir gar schönes Spiel spiel ich mit dir. Something. Meine Schwestern hat Gulden gewann. Either you know what I'm talking about or you don't. But yeah, Der Erlkönig here, he was like one of the first to submit a character. Not the first, but one of the first. And a lot of people followed his format. So Earl King, I appreciate you. If for no other reason, obviously appreciate you for being a fan of the channel, sticking around for years, always popping up for these Let's Plays, donating to Zerfall's charity. But I really appreciate an extremely laid out and organized and easy to follow character submission that other people aped. So thank you. That's cool. That helps me. Anyway, anything special to say about you? There's at least one person who picked traits where you picked the weaker version and the stronger version of the same trait, so you couldn't have both at the same time. I don't think that was you, Earl King, but somebody did that. But anyway, if you notice anything wrong, you went with Yuan Glory and Yuan Majesty. Smart. You're covering your bets. You've got both Yuan tactics. So you definitely got Yuan shoes in there. You don't have to worry about having accidentally picked the Yuan Shao one instead of the Yuan Shu one. But he had interesting confidants. He went with the Yuan brothers and then the Smart Boys. So he has the smarty pants of the era: Guo Jia, Zhuge Liang, the Sleeping Dragon, and of course the fledgling Phoenix Pang Tong. But Yuan Shu and Yuan Shao, neither of them known for being that smart, but he did catch both of the Yuan brothers. And he doesn't like Cao Cao or Liu Bei, which is absolutely fine for this playthrough, because I toyed around off screen with allying with Liu Bei, or at least getting him to not attack me while I dealt with others. But the natural thing we should be trying to do is ally with Lubu, which I would normally never do. Lubu cannot be trusted. He won't be a reliable ally for us either if the AI does any kind of job of playing like Lubu. But it's in character for Yuan Shu, because we're as unscrupulous and untrustworthy and dishonorable as Lubu is, so we would be more quick to ally with him with the expectation that we would turn on each other at the first opportunity than either of us would be to make allies of Liu Bei. But yeah, anyway, if I got something wrong here, let me know. But I think I captured your character correctly. Then we've got Lita's grandma, and I have to be honest, I don't even remember the joke here. Lita's grandma. I know it has to do with Edge and Christian making fun of Team Extreme. It has nothing to do, as far as I know, with the shit that went down after that. Edge cheating on his wife with the time with Lita, who was dating Matt Hardy, and all the real world fallout of that, which segues into Edge and Lita being an on-screen item and having like the, you know, whatever sex celebration in the ring on SmackDown and all the other shit that went on there. In the real world, Matt Hardy eventually settles down with Rebby Hardy and gets broken. Edge, his wife, when he was messing around with Lita, eventually divorced him and apparently on social media, possibly to this day, says that he's like a selfish douchebag. Edge gets married to Beth Phoenix, and as far as I know, they are living happily ever after. Lita's the only one. I have no idea what happened to Lita after all this went down. But the wrestling business is incredibly cosmetic, even more so for the women. So her in-ring career ended. I've never heard of her having a career as like a trainer or an announcer, or maybe there's something I'm just completely missing in all this. But hopefully all those people are doing well, because I have no personal grudge against any of them. Now here's the guy who was making fun of this build before. So, oh, you're like 100 at everything, and then 99 at one thing and 1 at something else. And it's usually charisma, where it's like, oh, I have leprosy, but it's otherwise perfect. This is pole. Your pole is 1. So Lita's grandma is like the most perfect employee you could have, except for the fact that they can't hold down a job. Like, they go in on the first day of work. It looks like, per the interview and the screening process, they're going to be the best employee you've ever had. But suddenly the break room smells like weed. The men's bathroom smells like weed. It's never smelled like weed before. You can't find this person. It's like they're supposed to be on duty, but you can't find them. You keep every time someone goes in the bathroom behind them, it smells like weed. So you finally have to fire them because they're with a poll of 1 means they just can't hold down a job. But what was I saying? Yeah, I don't remember what the joke was about Lita's grandma. Like I really don't. It's something I used to joke around about my channel, which is why the character's named that. But I can't remember what the joke was. I remember that Edge and Christian used to say that something or other was like Lita looks better from a distance. But I don't remember what the joke was about Lita's grandma. I feel bad. I need to look it up, maybe. You may be the one who had a tactic. No, you got 5 tactics, or traits. But anyway, Tower... Battered Body Ruse. Battered Body Ruse is the Huang Gai tactic, I would expect. And you're friends with me and Bobo and Yuan Shu, fairly common approach to that. But yeah, so this is an officer who... Officers who are good at like strength and leader and shit can do stuff during peace times. They can do like military drills and stuff. They help maintain order. They're not useless during times of non-war. But yeah, this is a guy who will never be good at, helping us develop farms and stuff. And he is a guy. The character Lita's grandma is male. That's why I feel so rotten about not remembering what the joke was with Edge and Christian and Lita's grandma. That gets escaped me. And it's a joke name that was meant to make me happy. It's making me happy. It's making me smile that I can't even fucking remember my own joke. So that is amusing to me. Anyway, now we have Sunda, who I don't know who created that character. I've lost track here. Oh, that would be Kazuhiro Samadesu. I'm pretty sure that's the right portrait because I think I remember that as being your character portrait in previous games. Similar, but slightly less extreme version of Lita's grandma as far as the stats go. You may be the one, yeah. So your tactics, you went with Brave, General, Glory, Heroic, and Duelist. And I think Heroic and Duelist is a more powerful version of Heroic. Something like that. Because yeah, one of them was favors duels, and the other one was favors... One of the other one is more likely to get in... One is more likely to get in duels, and the other one was more likely to get in duels favored. I don't know what the difference was, except they did seem to be the same trait, but one of them was, like, slightly upgraded, like, duelist. Like, maybe heroic is heroic, and duelist is basically heroic plus. So I gave you the higher of the two. You've got all the siege stuff, which is interesting because your stats are laid out in such a way that if I accept the advice I got from... Ichitochi, I probably don't want to use you for siege because you're kind of too valuable. Like other less skilled generals could do siege. But I'm going to stick with it unless you really want me to change it. Like you've given yourself stats that would make you good at siege, but in a sense, like it's almost wasted on you because you're so good at war stuff that you should be letting a officer who couldn't lead like regular old troops in combat do the siege while you do that. But we've got Arrow, Formation, and Goose, so you can go out there and do regular old battle. Actually, what is Arrow and Goose? Arrow is tactics are easy to... Goose is range. So yeah, you don't have the generic field battle formation. So I'd probably be using Arrow for you most of the time, or Goose. But yeah, anyway. That's your character. If you want to make changes, let me know. Otherwise, it's fine. I'm just like noticing these things. And then the last created character we have is Ma Li, who was Lord Link Death, or Lord Ink Death, 27. Let me know if I picked the wrong portrait. It's especially likely with the female characters because there's more rows to count. And I did have people who seemed to be miscounting the rows. Like somebody gave me a number and they were like, the last row, and then they gave me the number, and that's not the number of the last row. They were off by one. So bear that in mind. You want to strengthen fish. That's what you want to do. But they are somebody who fairly even stat attribute distribution, but not particularly charismatic, which means you won't be used to go negotiate with foreign governments. I'm not sure what else charisma even does in this game. And the most interesting thing about this character is that their confidants are a bunch of Yuan Shu, but then like Ma Tang, like members of the Ma clan. And then adversaries are Cao Cao, which is fine, and Han Sui, who is an enemy of Ma Tang until they... That's a weird one. Like, I don't know that story, but Ma Tang and Han Sui fought each other for control of that northwest region of China, but then eventually they became sworn brothers and fought together. So, like, this character's backstory / lore seems to be that they are allied with the Ma clan. Yeah, they even have the name Mali. So it's like, this is like Ma Tang's daughter who left to decide to work for Yuan Shu. Like, this very much feels like somebody who, in prior Let's Plays, I would let you pick your force. In this one, I was like, everyone's going to work for my force, because when you pick another force, we never end up seeing you in action. And particularly the Ma clan. Like, the Ma clan is likely to have been gobbled up by somebody else by the time I get there, because they're so far away from my starting point. Or they'll end up being... actually, the Ma clan tends to last, but... This person, it seems like Lord Inkdeath has made a character who really belongs to the Ma clan, but... like, they traveled to visit Yuan Shu out of curiosity and were swept up in his Yuan glory. Despite the fact that Yuan Shu is a complete ass, which is one of the reasons it's taken me a while to play as him, but I'm looking forward to it. Like, Yuan Shu is a tool. He's a terrible character in the novel. And we've got all these really high-end officers who are going to be serving him. But that's it. A fairly small number of created officers, because you did have to donate a decent chunk of change. Some people just don't have the budget to do it. For Zerfall's charity run last year. But I figured that would keep it small. The officers who did get in, hopefully there'll be a chance to see your officers do stuff. In the past, I've had some people have enjoyed writing in the comments, like, biographical entries from their created characters. Sometimes that happens, sometimes it doesn't. I always read them if they're there. But yeah, letting you guys take a look. And if there's anything that needs to be changed, let me know. If anybody who meant to submit a character hasn't done so, let me know. The actual Let's Play is not quite ready to start because I want to finish Warcraft 3 and then upload these and make them public on the days when currently Warcraft 3 videos are going public. And before I've finished all of Warcraft 3. As far as what's recorded for the channel at this point, I finished everything except the bonus campaign, The Founding of Durotar. I don't know how many videos that's going to take, or even how many people are interested in it, but I just figured I'd do it to complete the game. And when that's done, I start uploading this series. So you don't have an infinite amount of time, but you've got a little time if you want to let me know about changes, or if you want to point out any errors, or if you just want to submit a character and you haven't already done so. But anyway, I'm the Mysterious JG. Thanks for watching. If you've watched this far and are wondering why there was no gameplay, you were not paying attention at the beginning of the video, and I have no time for you. Catch you guys for the Let's Play coming up sometime fairly soon.